ultimately the goal is definitely to buy a house. Going to brunch with a bunch of people that I've never met before today. Hey friends, and welcome back to another weekly vlog. For those of you who are new, hi, my name's Amy. I am your internet bestie for all things personal development, intentional living and dream chasing, and I post these vlogs. Should be weekly, isn't always weekly, I'm working on it, but I post them to kind of share a behind the scenes look at what my life looks like in this stage right now, where I am really working on creating like my dream life. The highs, the lows, the emotional outbursts in between, we got it all going on. For example, welcome to the glamorous life of someone who does social media for a living. I've been sat on my bed for the last 5 hours editing videos, and all I've eaten is a pack of ready salted crisps. But it is Friday, and I have technically finished everything that I need to do today, and it's only 2 o'clock. This never happens, and it really does just go to show how much I'm capable of doing if I just lock myself in a room and don't let myself get distracted. I'm feeling very hungry, and I'm also feeling very lazy, so maybe I need to like go out and eat. I should be on a budget. If you watched my October budget with me, which I literally just finished uploading, then you will know I should not be going out to eat. You should not be going out to eat. I'm going out to eat. It's happening. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Do you ever go out for a light lunch and then accidentally eat 3 courses? Cause same. I mean, to be fair, my mum and I did split a starter and a dessert, but still, that was far more food than I was anticipating to eat. But oh my gosh, it was so good. I've been really excited to go try out that restaurant because our neighbours from across the street just bought it a couple of months ago, and every time they post pictures of the food or like the menu, I'm like, sounds like something I would really enjoy, and it was something that I really enjoyed. We got these little breadcrumb bowls with like rice and stuff in to start. Great, 10 out of 10. Then I had a vegan chicken burger, which was like a whole new experience because anytime I go out, the vegan burgers are either like a mix of vegetables that they form into a patty, or it's like a fake beef, or it's like, you know, a mushroom or halloumi or something. But this was fake chicken in a burger, and it was really good. And then cheesecake, salted caramel cheesecake. Oh, and then I had a latte. So when I said I really shouldn't be going out and buying myself lunch today, it's not on my budget, I kind of took that and threw the whole concept of not spending that money away. But not only did I throw the concept away, no, I took it, I set it alight, I scooped up the ashes, and I crumpled them up into teeny tiny pieces, and then I took those pieces and I stomped on them, and then I threw it away. I'm so stuffed and I'm so poor now. But like, I need to like switch into some sweatpants right now because this skirt does not have the means of elastication that I need for the amount that I have eaten, okay? I'm going to brunch with a bunch of people that I've never met before today. So a little while ago, I posted this TikTok where I was talking about how freaking lonely it can feel to be a woman in your 30s. It's so hard to make new friends as an adult, to meet new people. And as you get older, you find that kind of the friendships you had in your 20s start to change. Like, people get married, people have kids, people move, people like live their lives, and your interests kind of branch out. And it can leave you feeling lonely because you don't necessarily have people who have the same interests as you, who want to do the same things as you. And even if you do, if they have like really busy schedules and lives and kids and all that other jazz, then it can be really difficult to schedule time to see people. If you guys have been following me for a while, then you'll know that for a lot of my 20s, when I was living overseas, I lived with my then best friend, and it was awesome. Like, it was always someone to go and do something fun with, always someone to travel with, always someone to talk to if you were having a hard day, always someone to talk to if you were having a great day. It was awesome. I also just had a bunch of really cool friends when I was living overseas, because typically like people who decide to move overseas and like start a whole new life tend to have a lot of things in common. Those are the kinds of people who don't want to live conventionally. Those are the kinds of people who want to travel. Those are the kinds of people who are up for pretty much anything. And so it was really fun, really easy to make new friends, really easy to find people who have things in common with you, really easy to be able to say at the drop of a hat, hey, do you want to go away for the weekend? Hey, do you want to do this, that, the other? And people would be like, yeah, definitely, I'm down for it. And now, since I've come home to the UK, it's like the complete opposite. That's one of the main reasons that I moved to Vietnam last year, actually, was because I was trying to recapture that sense of community and like having like-minded people around me, you know? And that obviously didn't work out. So anyway, I made a TikTok about all of this last month, I think, and the response I had was wild. Literally hundreds of women were commenting, telling me about how they felt the exact same way, about how hard it is to make friends when you're in your like late 20s, early 30s. It can feel very isolating, and like, where are we supposed to meet people? Where are we supposed to find these friends? So I started playing a little bit of matchmaker, and I was going through the comments, and like if someone had said like, hey, I'm in Edinburgh and I'm looking for, you know, new friends, then I'd scroll through these hundreds of comments and see if anyone else was in Edinburgh, and then I'd introduce them to each other, and I'd be like, you guys should go and get brunch. Anyway, this all escalated to the point where I decided to arrange a brunch locally for the girls who live kind of in South Wales, to see if anyone wanted to meet up and go have a new Bestie Brunch club. There's 6 of us meeting up today. I'm so excited. I'm kind of nervous because I don't do particularly well around new people. I tend to get a little bit nervous, a little bit self-conscious, but these like girls seem very lovely just based on like the WhatsApp group chat and everything, so I think it's gonna be fun. No freaking prizes if you guess that I am running late, as per always. So I am going to shut up now, concentrate on getting my face together so that I don't miss my train. Did I come home from brunch yesterday and then completely forget that I was supposed to be vlogging? Of course. This is the hardest part of vlogging for me. It's just remembering to vlog. I don't know what I've done with my tripod, so I'm just gonna set you on this candle. Look at that, perfect. So yesterday was a huge success, I would say. I was a little bit nervous heading in because usually I am a walking disaster around new people. I get so nervous, I get so self-conscious. I just go one of two ways. Either I get so overwhelmed and worried that I'm going to make a fool of myself that I just clam up and I struggle to say anything, and then time passes and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't said anything, I haven't said anything, I haven't said anything. Now I can't say anything because it's been so long since I've said anything, and like it's a certain kind of torment that I lay upon myself. Or I go the other way and I just say everything that comes into my brain so that there's no possibility of awkward silence. So one of two extremes, neither are good. But I didn't really get either of those issues yesterday because everybody was so nice. And you know when you just meet people and you instantly just feel quite comfortable with them, like you just kind of click. Like I think we had a lot of things in common when we were talking about stuff. And I just, yeah, I felt like I was kind of normal. I felt like I didn't scare everyone away. I met some really lovely people and we're gonna meet up again closer to Christmas. Today, it's new dawn, it's a new day. It is a beautiful day today, which is ideal because I'm going to the pumpkin patch today. I'm gonna pick up my pumpkins. I'm gonna live my best basic aesthetic life. Like I'm gonna be there in my knitted cardigan and my plaid scarf, even though it's way too hot. Like I'm sweating right now. It is not the weather for this much knitwear, but I'm here for the aesthetic, you know? I gotta get those Instagram pictures. I regret everything. It is so freaking hot. It's 20 degrees. I've got this scarf on because I feel like it really pulls the look together, but I am cooking from the inside out. My dad is wearing shorts. It is hot. It's not even not cold, it's hot. Oh gosh, that man walking past walking his dog thinks I'm insane. Hang on. I always forget that people can see me in the car. Like, windows work both ways. I had to change because I thought I was going to literally die, but I am keeping the scarf. Freaking hot. And I've lost my dad, and he's the one with the wheelbarrow. Here he comes. I don't think you're gonna like this one, but I like it. I've got a vision. It's pretty heavy.
Yes, I know. Push that thing.
I feel like I've done a full workout and I wasn't even in charge of the wheelbarrow. I still don't have my tripod, so you're going back on the candle. It just works, I don't know. Well, happy Monday, friends. I know it's a whole other week now, but I didn't finish off the vlog yesterday when I got back from the pumpkin patch. I really was riding the highest high between getting an iced latte, so I was caffeinated, I had the sugar rush, I had the joy of the pumpkins, and I was really just like living my best life, and then it crashed really quickly when I got home. I planned on coming back a little later to finish off the vlog, and then I just didn't. So we're extending it into another week. I guess technically it's my vlog, so I can make up the rules as I go along. Anyway, I thought that maybe we would do a little bit of a Q&A as I get ready for the day. She says at 26 minutes past 12 in the afternoon. I know I don't look like I've had any kind of productive day at all today, but I have. I got up, I did yoga, I went for a walk, I had breakfast, and I've been working all morning. Like, I've got a lot of stuff done. Don't let this fool you. But I do want to pull myself together and put a face on because I just feel so different when my hair and makeup is done and I'm not wearing a dirty fleece. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna answer some of you guys' questions. First things first, we need to do a little shout out because this whole Q&A idea came about because I had a comment asking me to explain about my home ownership goals, and that comment came from Moomin Alana, and she said, what's your home goals? Flat, house, buy, rent, stay local, or go elsewhere? I know it might be a while because you did that crazy thing called living your life, and girl, didn't I just? But I just wondered what your plans were. Good video idea maybe. So thank you to Moomin Alana because you kicked off this whole Q&A segment, and what a question. Home ownership in 2023. This is actually a whole story that dates back to 2016, 2017. I don't know for sure because since the pandemic I have no concept of date or time. Whatever, it was whenever I worked in Kuwait. And one of the really appealing things about going and working in Kuwait for that year was that it was a well-paid job and there was no tax. So 100% of what you earned would go straight into your pocket. And also the company that I worked for would house me in their apartment, so I wouldn't even have to pay rent. Was it a terrible apartment? Yes. Was I fearing for my safety at the end of living there? Yes. But it was free, so pluses and minuses. The pluses being that you don't have to pay rent, the minuses of course being the cockroaches, the holes in the ceiling, and the fact that there is a strange man who has a key to the apartment and is allowed to let himself in at any given time without warning, whether you're there or not. Anyway, that's a story for a different day. I had this idea that I would go and teach abroad in Kuwait for just 1 year, save up enough money to have a deposit to buy a house, and then come back home and buy said house, and then just move on with my life as a teacher in the UK. And it obviously didn't work out that way. I realized that I actually really enjoyed living overseas, and I continued to do it for a few more years. But even after I had put aside all of the money for my house deposit, I never actually got around to buying the house. Every year I would say to myself, yep, this summer when I go home to visit, I'm gonna get my mortgage sorted and actually buy a house. And then I just never did because I would only be home for like maybe 4 weeks at a time, and the time just got away from me every time. Like, it wasn't a huge priority. I just kept thinking, yeah, I'll get around to it, I'll get around to it, and then I just never did. And then I got engaged, and then we had the pandemic, and now the house prices are so high and they're starting to come back down, but the interest rates are so high, and I'm like, ew. When I came home from that first year of working in Kuwait, I actually had a pretty decent sized deposit, like set aside to put down on a house. And since then, because of the way that the housing market has gone, even though I've continued to put money away and that amount of money is now larger, it's actually worth less compared to the cost of a house. And I don't like that maths for me at all. Ultimately, the goal is definitely to buy a house, but I just don't think that the timing for that is quite right. Like, when I look at what my monthly payments would be, I would have to sell several of my organs to make that happen, and I don't know that I'm at a point in my life where I would like want to live without my kidneys, you know? As of right now, I don't plan on renting because that's also very expensive. And one thing that I learned last year when I lived in Vietnam by myself, which was the first time that I'd ever lived alone, I've always lived with like my parents or roommates singular, never lived just by myself. And I realized I really didn't love it. So I've realized that, yeah, I could go and rent somewhere to live, but then I'd always end up coming back here and hanging out with my parents every day anyway. So it's better for me to just stay put for now, and that way I can put a little bit more money into the bank and boost up that deposit for a house. That's the goal. That's what we're thinking. Okay, anyway, moving on from that question. Sorry, I really went off on a little bit of a tangent with that one, but I have a lot of feelings about the fact that housing is so expensive and inaccessible, and it's a crazy wild ride that a lot of us are stuck on. So there's that. I had a few people asking if I have any plans to move overseas again, and for right now, the answer is no. I mean, that could definitely change in the future, but for the moment, I feel like my focus is on putting down roots and building a life and a routine and a sense of stability for myself here, which is wild. I never thought I would say that. I mean, like I said, I moved to Kuwait with the idea that I would just be away for a year and then I would come straight back home, and then I ended up loving living abroad, and then I ended up having to come home, and then I was like, I don't want to be here, and then I moved to Vietnam and I was like, nah, this is not the vibe, and then I moved home again, and now I feel like maybe I just need to be still for a little minute, you know? And who's to say that in a few years I might not get that itch to go abroad again, but it's a hard one. Once you pick up a move and find yourself settled in another place, then you kind of almost feel like you don't really belong anywhere anymore. Like when I come home, I miss all of the adventure and the excitement and, you know, the opportunities that I had living away. But when I'm living away, I miss the sense of stability and belonging that comes from being at home. The grass is literally always greener, but at least for now, I think the best thing for me is just to be here. Along similar lines, I had a question from Jen from the B3 asking, do you enjoy living with your parents? And the answer is yes. I don't know if they enjoy living with me, but I love living with them. If I didn't enjoy living with them, I wouldn't have moved home as many times as I have. I think this is the 4th time that I've moved back home. Every time they think they've got rid of me, I just keep on coming back. I'm like a bad penny. I don't know how to say this name because I can't tell where one word ends and the next one begins. I think it's Ash Hinsman. I don't know. Bucket list places you want to visit. Oh my goodness. How much time do you have? I really want to go on safari somewhere in Africa. I'm thinking probably Kenya. Those things are really freaking expensive, but I would absolutely, like, top tier love to do that. I'd like to go to Norway, and I'd love to be able to go up. There's a place, I think it's called Svalbard in Norway. You can go up. It's like a little island. It's like right up near the North Pole, and you can go and see the polar bears and obviously like the northern lights and all that kind of thing. I hate being cold, but I just want to go. I want to go to Egypt and see the pyramids. I want to go to New Orleans. I want to go to Nashville. I've never been anywhere in South America, so I'd love to go down there. I'd also love to go back to Southeast Asia. I want to go back to Thailand. I know I've done it once, but I really loved it. I want to go to Indonesia. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to the Philippines. I want to go to Ireland. I've never been to Ireland, and that's not even far, but it is expensive. Budapest. I haven't been to Budapest and I really want to go. Let me just bring up a map of the world, because I know I'm missing some. Oh, I'd love to go to India actually. That's on my list also. New Zealand, Australia. Morocco is on my list. Oh, Canada. So basically, the whole world. I better start saving. New name here asks, what is your ultimate goal when it comes to Project Pan? Honestly, the ultimate goal is to just have a reasonable amount of everything. And that varies from product to product. So that would be like owning one mascara and one eyeliner, but having, you know, 5 or 6 different shades of lipstick. It depends. It just means having the things that I really love in a quantity that I can actually use. Rebecca SG3 asked, is your main source of income being an influencer now? Kind of yes, kind of no. My income all comes from social media, but not necessarily all from being an influencer. I don't think I am an influencer. I don't know, in my brain influencers are the really aesthetically pleasing trendy people, and I don't fit into that category, so I feel like a fraud when people are like, you're an influencer, and I'm like, no, I am a hot mess on the internet. That's what I am. My income comes from so many different streams. All of them are related to social media. So I get money every month from YouTube AdSense, and I get a little bit of money from affiliate marketing, and I get money from when people join my online program, when people buy my book or my planner or my merch. I get some of my income from, I get like 1 pence a day from the TikTok Creator Fund. They're really generous over there. And then usually the largest part of my income comes from doing freelance social media management for other like small brands and local businesses. So it all comes from social media in a roundabout way, but not in the traditional sense of like, you know, a big name influencer who's just getting brand deals. I'm having to really diversify. Great bit all together. Oh, Rebecca SG3 again. And what's your next big dream? Oh, girl, I have no idea. I feel like I'm in a really transitional stage in my life right now. Like there's no huge drama going on. Everything has kind of, I almost feel like the dust has settled. It feels like this fresh new chapter, but I don't know exactly what I want that to look like yet. And I just find that exciting. I know I want something big, and I feel like something big is on the horizon for me, but I just don't know what it is yet. Oh, Imogen Cogan asked, any travel plans coming up? No. It feels really strange to me because obviously when I was living overseas, I would take trips once a month, once every 2 months. And now since I'm home, I don't have the luxury of doing that because it's so much more expensive to fly places, and I don't really have anyone to go with, and I could go by myself, but I'm kind of scared. I really want to go on a Disney cruise, and I know that a lot of you might think that's really lame, and maybe you're right, but I don't care. I want to go on a Disney cruise. I just can't get anyone to go with me. New name here. Any advice on that inside voice saying, this is stupid, why are you even trying? I hear it often. Whew. I hear that often too. The thing that I have to keep reminding myself of, and the thing that I have been telling myself for years, and I think this is why I've had kind of the courage to go and do things that a lot of people thought were insane, is I just say to myself, like, well, why not? No matter what it is that you want to do, or how far-fetched it might seem, or how much the people around you might think that you are certifiably insane for wanting to pursue that path, there is certainly at least one other person in the world who's already doing that, or already doing something similar. In the cases of most of us, what we think are wild, crazy, ridiculous dreams are in fact just the mundane lives of other people. So when I come up against that voice in my head that tells me, you can't do that, you're dreaming too big, you're being ridiculous, I'm like, why not? Someone else is already out there doing that thing that I want to do. Someone else has already achieved this thing that feels like a huge mountain to me. Someone else has already done that. So why can't I do it? No matter how crazy big your dreams feel to you and how impossible it might feel, someone else has already done it. And take comfort from that. you know. I've got a couple of questions here on YouTube from Neve Kenny 3424. What do your family think of you creating videos? They're really supportive about it, but I've been doing it for so long at this point that it's kind of just, it just is what it is. I genuinely don't think that a single one of my family members actually understands what it is that I do. I wonder what they think it is that I do. Do they know that I sit down every month and like literally talk about my trash and like thousands of people watch it? If I told them that, they would think that was insane. So yeah, they're supportive, but they don't know what it is. Neve also asks, how do you stay so motivated? I absolutely do not. 90% of the time I have zero motivation. I'm really easily distracted, and I'm a procrastinator by just, I think it's in my DNA to be a procrastinator. So I don't rely on motivation, I rely on habits and routines, and I just stay consistent by sheer force of will. It's not motivation, I guarantee you. It isn't. What you see is not motivation. And then, how do you come up with things to do every day? Which I assume is in reference to my This Time Next Year challenge, where I do one positive action a day to bring me closer to my dream life. And I will, anytime I think of something that will enhance my life, I make a note of it, whether that will be something really mundane sounding, like emptying my email inbox so that I can more easily find the documents that I need, or if it's something really exciting, like, you know, opening a savings account for a trip that I really want to take. Like, I make a note of all of these things, and then that way I always have ideas of things I can do, and that way I'm able to stay consistent and keep taking steps forward. Oh, we're down to the last question, which is YaXO asked, what did you learn about yourself in the last year which surprised you the most? Ooh, I've learned, and this doesn't just apply to me, I think this applies probably to everyone to some extent. I've learned that I don't have to stay within these boxes that I've put myself in. So let me give you an example. You guys have probably heard me say at least 50,000 times that I'm not a morning person, and yeah, that is true. I thrive better, I work better in the afternoon than I do in the morning. I am kind of grumpy when I first wake up. All of these things are true, but I think for years I labelled myself as not a morning person, and I really kept myself within that box, and I would be like, count me out of any kind of morning activity because I'm not a morning person. And recently, over the last kind of 6 months, I've realised that actually morning has become my favourite time of day. I get up now, I go for a walk, I do yoga, I sit and read, like I really enjoy it. And for years I missed out on that because I kind of labelled myself and put myself in this box of not a morning person. And I found that about quite a few things, like running. For ages I said to myself like, oh, I am not a runner, I hate running. And I'd never actually tried it. Like when I actually committed to trying to run for fun and I gave it my all and I really tried it, I realised that I love it. And for a long time I didn't give myself a chance to kind of like step outside of those boxes and question whether that was actually true. And a lot of times it wasn't. Now, who is she? I get up early on a Saturday morning and go for a run. I think you're never really finished with learning about yourself and realising who you are, because we change too, right? So kind of putting yourself into a box and being like, well, I wasn't a morning person when I was 14, so I'm still not a morning person at 32. It doesn't make any sense. So the important thing about that I've learned to move forward is to just challenge myself on these labels that I put on myself, I guess. I've been talking for like ever and I still haven't finished my makeup. This is testament to my multitasking skills, okay? Anyway, thank you to everyone who submitted questions for that little Q&A. I really enjoyed that. Sorry if it went on and on and on. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the vlog here because otherwise it's gonna be 3 p.m. before I finish putting on my makeup. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another vlog this week. Remember that I love you all so much. You are enough just as you are, and I will see you soon. Bye.